The president and his wife were captured from Caracas by U.S. officials with the allegations that Nicolas Maduro was responsible for the infiltration of illicit drugs into the United States, resulting in the deaths of many, many Americans. In an extraordinary press conference a few hours ago, President Trump said that an air, land and sea operation was conducted to extract Nicolas Maduro, and that the operation was a spectacular assault not seen since World War II. Not a single serviceman had been injured, Donald Trump said, and not a single American piece of equipment was lost. And what's next for Venezuela is equally extraordinary. President Trump said that the United States is now going to run Venezuela. Let's listen to what he said.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years.
He didn't say who was going to be involved in the running of the country. He was repeatedly asked by reporters, and he intimated that it would be a combination of the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, and the chair of the Joint Chief of Staff, alongside the people of Venezuela. Again, who that is, we're not sure. He seems to have ruled out the opposition leader, Maria Machado, saying that she's not popular. She's a nice woman, but she's not respected or popular in Venezuela. He said that the vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, has spoken to Marco Rubio, and essentially his version of the conversation, president's version of the conversation, is that Delcy Rodriguez will do whatever the U.S. wants. Delcy Rodriguez seems to be saying in public on television that she's prepared to defend Venezuela and that Nicolas Maduro is the only president of her country. So very unclear what is going on, but we also know from President Trump that U.S. oil companies are going to be involved in Venezuela. Let's take another listen.
We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country.
And meanwhile, in Latin America, we have mixed reaction. Paulo Cabral joins us live from Sao Paulo. Paulo, what has the reaction been there?
Well, just as you said, mixed but not surprising, following ideological lines. But first, let me report that Brazil's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has said that they recognize, the Brazilian government recognized Delcy Rodriguez, the vice president of Venezuela, as the leader of the country right now. They say that according to international law, if the president's out, the vice president is the recognized authority. And the Brazilian government says they are abiding by that, and that they are also participating in the meeting of the United Nations Security Council that has been suggested by President of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, and accepted by the UN. It's going to be a meeting of the Security Council, but it's going to be open, and so Brazil will be able to participate, even though it's not part of the Security Council right now, and Brazilian authorities say they will be there. Brazil, as other left-wing governments in Latin America, has condemned the US action in Caracas in Venezuela, saying that this is President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva said this opens a terrible precedent in Latin America, that other countries could also be victims of this kind of thing. But even though he was careful not to make any direct mentions to the United States or to President Donald Trump, Brazil is taking care to balance between condemnation of this action on Venezuela, but also not burning bridges of the relationship with the United States that has just improved in the past weeks. There's been condemnation also of other left-wing governments here. Gustavo Petro from Colombia, as we just said, the government of Uruguay also condemned the attack, and the president of Chile, leftist Gabriel Boric. Let's hear what he had to say.
Today it is Venezuela. Tomorrow it could be anyone else. Likewise, the threat of unilateral external control over its natural resources or strategic resources constitutes a serious violation of the principle of territorial integrity and puts at risk the security, sovereignty, and stability of all the states in the region. If they can do it here, why couldn't they do it somewhere else in the future?
Interestingly enough, Chile has just elected a new government, a right-wing government that's not in power yet, and the new government, the new president, has already declared that he actually supports the action of the United States on Venezuela. So that's the situation in Latin America right now. Much expectation. Also interesting to say that among the Venezuelan diaspora, there has been mostly celebration regarding the ousting of Maduro, but also much concern with the future of Venezuela, as there is much uncertainty now as to what will happen to their country.